Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Black USA Crypto News. I'm your host, Kamal Hubbard, and I've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I've been very busy behind the scenes working on some great stuff. And that's what we're actually going to talk to you guys about today. Before I get to that, make sure to pick up your copy of DeFi Diaspora. This is the book that I wrote, trying to get the message out to the community on the future of money, where things are going. I mean, obviously, crypto is a big part of that, but how do we bring the crypto conversation to our community? Pick up this book, and it puts out quite a few really great ideas in terms of how I think this should be done. A big part of this is very collaborative. So, that has a lot to do with what we're talking about today. The collaboration, the education, and providing impact for the community. And so to talk about this a little bit further, I'd like to introduce you to my guest, Randy Saraguchi. Hey, Randy, how's it going today?
Hey, Kamal, feeling pretty good today. It's going to be a beautiful Saturday, I think. You know how the clouds start out here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, absolutely. That cloud cover is gonna burn off, and the sun will come through, or at least that's my hope. But regardless, that's not gonna stop me from having a good day. It's probably not gonna stop you from having a good day either.
No, definitely not. Today, I'm honored. We're honored. UrbanEd Academy is honored to be here to talk a little bit about our mission, and then to talk about these dreams too. Some of these visions and possibilities we're looking at in the future here together.
Well, yeah. Hey, before we talk about that, could you introduce yourself, Randy, to our audience here at Black USA News and Black USA Crypto News? That would be amazing.
Absolutely. Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you check this out. My name is Randy Saraguchi. I am the executive director of UrbanEd Academy. We're a nonprofit based in Baby Hunters Point in San Francisco, with a mission to place one Black male teacher in every elementary school in the city.
So let's talk about UrbanEd. I mean, you guys have a great mission, and you've been at it for quite some time now. How did UrbanEd Academy start out? Obviously, you guys are based in the city of San Francisco. Tell us a little bit more about how everything came to be.
Well, I was fortunate to join UrbanEd in 2016. I moved to the Bay Area from Sacramento. But prior to that, UrbanEd Academy was a Saturday school that was founded in 2010. And for 6 years in the neighborhood, it served nearly 1,000 boys, Black boys, with this project-based learning, sort of mix-match model, putting Black men in front of Black boys, grades 3 through 5, and had a great amount of success going deep with these students in an out-of-school time environment, but testing the main theory, the secret sauce that I kind of saw in the organization, that we can accelerate learning and we can improve the environment in education is happening if we can place images and demonstrations and models of success that look like students in front of them early enough. And it was important, still important to continue doing that on a Saturday. But we know that school happens Monday through Friday, 10 months out of the year. And the foundation we were able to build with deep relationships with community partners and carrying out those Saturday school services was really was the precursor to launch it into this mission and this campaign we call In the Bay.
Yeah, so I guess maybe there's UrbanEd Academy and there's also Man the Bay. Can you talk about how Man the Bay came about as an outgrowth of the UrbanEd Academy mission?
Oh, absolutely. And so the mission behind placing one Black male teacher in every elementary school in San Francisco, that is sort of synonymous with the campaign of Man the Bay. And it kind of, again, it goes back to this main mode that we had around our activities, which was a representation-based model, where we were putting Black men in schools, in the YMCA, in college track, when we bounced around between a few different places, but having Black men show up for Black boys in a school setting was magical. We saw that we got some great things out of that. And so, in the face of a national teacher shortage, a statewide teacher shortage, regional teacher shortage, and an affordable housing crisis that was preventing folks' talent, for small nonprofits, for us, and really anybody else in the area, that the combination of those two things was a big reason why we didn't have the representation that we were seeing on Saturdays in our program in the school sites during the week. And so some of the work that we started to do outside of Saturdays was placing mentors from our Saturday sort of rotation into the school classrooms during the week to try to help deepen the relationship, not only with the students, but try to also get involved with what was happening academically during the week. And so that natural extension of just learning more about the school system, learning more about the school day, and seeing some of the challenges that were happening there in the school sites, there was this entryway or this pathway to getting involved. And then also seeing that less than 2% of all of the credentialed men, not only nationwide, but here in the city, less than 2% were looking like the students we were serving, less than 2% looking like the men we were hiring and enlisting. And so building, really, this was a supplement, not a supplant to the work, but building on that work, we got involved in figuring out how we can become part of the recruitment machine to bring in more men into the profession at large.
That's great. That's great to hear that you guys have undertaken this mission to teaching Black boys, Black girls, and working with Black male teachers as well to get them into the industry. I actually want to take a step back and talk about Academy a little bit more in depth here. So the kids that are participating in the Saturday school, who are these kids? Where are they based, and what are they getting out of the curriculum?
Well, Saturday schools looked a little different since the pandemic, but pre-pandemic, we had an acute focus on Black boys, and the vast majority of these Black boys were in the Bayview neighborhood on the southeast side of the city. We had some students coming from the Western Addition and a couple other places, but most of our students were neighborhood based. And we were trying to first, in order to get to a pathway of educational success, academic success, we knew we had to unlock passions and fire and inspiration in the kids. So being in the tech backyard of the world, introducing STEM-based experiences as a carrot on the way to working on math and working on reading skills was where we started with students. And so we would do things like we were building electric bikes, when I got here. We were putting together radios, AM, FM radios from parts. And we had one of our instructors, Coach Jones, was all about this tangible hardware-based approach to getting kids fired up about learning. And so we naturally also too had this program we used called IXL, where we had students compete around doing more math problems, more reading problems, alongside some of the enrichment stuff. But it was, for us, it was a strategy to bridge the divide that we saw in a city like San Francisco, a place where there are so many haves and then deep, deep, deep have-nots. And for a place so flush with resources, and for a small city at that, it's a 7 by 7, you hear folks talking about all the time. How could you have a group of students with so many diverse needs not being met in a city that had so much? So one of the easiest pathways of exposure for us around the common theme of industry in the area was introducing kids to science, technology, engineering, and anchored on this math piece. Then we eventually put the A in there like everybody else, started adding arts, to STEAM. But that was our pathway before looking at the Black male recruitment issue in the profession.
And it was actually through those efforts that you guys won what's called the Jefferson Award here in California. Can you talk about UrbanEd and how it came to win the Jefferson Award?
Yes, so UrbanEd Academy, we've been fortunate to win 2 Jefferson Awards. The first one was in 2015. It was right before I got here. Our founder, Dwayne Jones, had gotten the award for an idea to try to transform a liquor store into a tech learning center. The idea was called Hacker Hub, and it was supported by a great list of partners, corporate, philanthropic, and spearheaded at the time by Supervisor Malia Cohen, and convening this group to get this big boulder moved. As you know, as some of the listeners know, there's a saturation of liquor stores in neighborhoods like the ones we serve, and this was a chance to get addition by subtraction. Brilliant idea. And so the committee had awarded the organization for it. And fast forward to earlier this year, someone nominated us. I'm still not sure who, but nominated us again to the committee. Thank you to whoever you are, for a nod to the transformation really of the work here at the organization. And while Saturday School was our anchor, it continues to be a part of our efforts now. We really are sort of a different organization than from what we were. And the goals, the activity sets connected. We still have a lot of the same folks in the network, but I think the award that we would appreciate for this campaign, one we're grateful for. We're still trying to do the work and have a long way to go to make this mission possible, mission complete. But I think it's a testament, one, to the gravity of the need and, the fortune that we've been able to have to cobble together our own strong set of partners to get out there and keep it going.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, just the whole concept of taking out a liquor store and putting in a tech learning hub. I mean, hey, that is something that needs to be replicated exponentially throughout this country. So, everybody out there, I mean, hey, I'm quite sure folks in Baltimore, they could do something like that. Plenty of places in Atlanta that could do that too. Many more here in the Bay Area as well. So, I definitely commend you guys, in that award is well deserved for, a program as visionary as yours. You guys, or you just mentioned that you guys also won a second Jefferson Award. So can you talk about a little bit more about how that came to happen. I know you said somebody nominated you, but maybe talk a little bit more about how those two awards are a little bit different from each other.
Sure. So I was gonna interject and get in there and say, one, I agree. I think somebody else should definitely try to replicate that somewhere else, pick it up. The truth of that for us was that we failed in getting that off the ground. It became a capital intensive project, was always a capital intensive project, and some unexpected costs, built up on us really, really quickly, to the point where the owner ended up selling it, and it wasn't the same deal, anymore with the new group. And so that was actually a major inflection point for us, for me personally, in the organization, in responding to the moment, obviously looking at our wounds, figuring out what we should have done differently, and then actually going about things differently and going to do it. So kind of that was in 2018, coincidentally the same year where we got a gift from the Francisco Foundation to test out what it would look like to build a machine that worked at the intersection of a few different issue areas. You have education, and that was covered for us in our direct service work. And we had a very acute focus on working with Black students, Black boys, and very acute focus, and being very intentional about the vendors and folks that we were paying to be a part of that service. Then moving on and getting into the campaign piece of it, there was a lot to learn as far as what an education group would be doing in workforce, what an education group would be doing in housing. And so one part of what we do to make the actual recruitment matriculation possible is, in a place like the Bay Area with an affordable housing crisis, we make housing a part of the 4-year experience, and is 100% subsidized for that first year, while a non-education major from an HBCU takes his shot, with us alongside him, takes his shot at getting a credential. One of the more difficult things by the numbers, one of the more difficult professional feats for Black men in particular, just given the rates that are out there on, test passes rates, retention rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is not a profession where Black men have been, and therefore there are a number of questions, many questions, on what we need to do to tailor and make a pathway for them, because clearly whatever we had wasn't working. And so this investment at the intersection of three different angles of the same problem. We want to have high quality teachers in our schools. We want those high quality teachers to have a comfortable experience enough to want to stay in the profession, and particularly stay in the cities and neighborhoods that they're serving. And in the Bay Area, you have all of these other factors that's barring that from anybody that wants to be a teacher, profession writ large, but specifically people of color. And then add in this like unicorn problem status you have of Black men not being near any of those things, either San Francisco or the teaching profession. So like having to tackle the entire tornado at once has been a learning process. It's, I would say, taken us 3 years to really, really dive deep on the workforce vertical that was built out and the housing vertical. And I would say that is that's probably the basis upon which the Jefferson committee thought that it would be worth the look to give us an award this year. It really has been transformational work.
Well, hey, congratulations again to you and your team for, putting together another award-winning offering that they felt was worthy of their commendation. I mean, so much of success involves failure, but as I've learned, when you fail, you just got to keep going. You got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep taking the hits. And but I think to underscore what you said earlier is one of the most difficult things, especially in a place like the Bay Area, is funds in our community to support these sort of initiatives just aren't there. And as much as we have some of the largest tech companies in the world that have billions of dollars on hand, not a lot of it is flowing. And granted, they are doing what they can, and they are giving gifts and things like that. But I mean, they can always give a little bit more. But also, it needs to be driven by our community as well. We need to place the value on that. I mean, when you're talking about the liquor example and how that was part of everything, I mean, how that owner of the building didn't feel as though it was cost effective anymore. One of the things that I like to talk about is really looking at the difference between cost, price, and value. A lot of times we don't examine those three things differently. And some people see them as a distinction without a difference. But, obviously the value of that program far exceeded the cost in terms of what that monthly rent would be and what the price of that rent would be. The value to the community, those kids and the people who are participating, I mean, there's almost really no price tag that goes along with it. So, that being said, I certainly want to make sure people know that you guys are a 501c3 nonprofit, and that, folks out there in the audience, if you can support, please do support by going to urbanedacademy.org/give. There's great ways to be able to support, and you can do it at a very minimal cost. But once again, it keeps vital programs like this going. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about how everything has been going in terms of donations and giving.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been the pandemic has been what it's been for everybody. So we are fortunate to have made it this far, continue to be able to do this work. And that has come with partners, that has come with donors, come with supporters. So we're grateful for every single one of them, whether it's been time, talent, or treasure donated. It has certainly taken a village to get this going. And so we've had a fortunate run to, again, kind of still be here, but we don't want to just maintain. We don't want to just do the baseline of work. This really does need to kind of accelerate at some point. And we were at a point, I thought, team thought, before the pandemic to kind of hit that gas button. But all things happen in due time. And with the support we've been able to garner so far, we're on track to bring both the senior team and capacity on board and the recruitment efforts out there to bring 20 to 25 men in here next July. And really this thing run. We've been working with smaller cohort sizes to make sure that we get it right. But in a teacher shortage and in a time where even though there are homes being bought up all over the place, the Bay Area still has some vacancies. There are plenty of places for people to sleep. And so with the supply there, the support we've gotten is putting us in a position to accelerate this year. And so we hope that you all are willing to join us on this journey. If you do, thank you. And if you don't, you will hear from us in July. For sure.
Well, hey, I mean, 20 more teachers, that's remarkable. And, once again, this program needs as much support as it can get. So, I definitely want to do what I can to be a sounding board, whether it's for more individual participation, more corporate or institutional participation. And obviously, hats off to everybody who is supported financially, like you said, and as well as given their time and energy. Those people definitely need to be recognized. So, are there any partnerships that you would like to maybe shout out right now? Because they absolutely do need credit.
Oh, for sure. And so there's this has definitely been a family movement. So we've been building with a lot of folks, but I think we have to start, for sure, where I think it all started for us, which was with the city and county of San Francisco, and the willingness of leadership across regimes, across mayors, across superintendents, across department heads of Department of Children, Youth, and their families. Everybody has been on board with this. It's been an unassailable mission. Everybody wants to see Black boys learn more. That everybody wants to see a more diverse teaching pool. Everybody wants to see a city that has great schools. And so we want to start with the city, County, San Francisco. SFUSD has been amazing in helping us learn more about, one, ourselves and our own operation, and then two, how schools work. All we're doing is bringing talent to them, and that has definitely taken some time to build together. And so the city and county and the district, thank you. We have the San Francisco Foundation has been a solid foundational partner from on day one, for sure, since I've been here, but even prior to my being here, always believed in the vision of this work. The Warriors Community Foundation has been one of those ride or dies, really. There's so much that we wouldn't have without their continuous support and advocacy. All Stars Helping Kids down in the South Bay was one of our first multi-year grants. When we had that liquor store conversion or transformation project, and then had the vision to move to this, they were one of the folks helping us troubleshoot through all of the ugly stuff, the behind the scenes, bringing new board members into the fold. How do you settle some contract issues and work on, staff training and management, boring stuff that nobody else wants to see. They were by our side. The Jefferson Award was also in 2015, was followed up by Google. And one of our board members now is from Google. And that's been a continuous thread of support. And then so many, this has been, we have yet to get, the $1 million grant that's like, transformational and helps us sustain for 6 months to be able to figure it all out. The rest of it, there's been no windfall like that. This truly has been a small dollar by comparison, quote unquote, has been a piece by piece, partner by partner building block mission. And I don't want to, hopefully I'm not offending anybody that I hadn't mentioned, but we've definitely been fortunate to have partners believe in us before and continue to stick with us.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of put you on the spot with that, but I think what is also what's also important is where you said it started, right? It started with the city and county of San Francisco understanding, once again, the value of this mission. So, hey, I always give credit to the city and county of San Francisco. I've had a chance to work with the city and county of San Francisco. And there's a lot of great stuff coming out of the city and county of San Francisco. I mean, but once again, sorry to put you on the spot, but I think it was important to kind of shout out some of the folks that are involved. And clearly there's thousands of people who have given in small and large amounts. So, we definitely want to recognize them just as a general thank you at this time. But this is Black USA Crypto News, and so people may be watching and at this point wondering, well, what's the crypto connection here? What's the blockchain connection? And maybe we could talk about that stuff.
Sure. So we, this is the part where I'm gonna have to fall back. I'm not and not talk really at all, and be the listener. We have had the fortune of talking and working with you, Kamal. One of our board members has really been heavy into crypto, and got the nudge earlier this year to try to gear up for a more diversified donation and giving platform accessibility and access and ability. And so we did some research on what different crypto donation platforms there were, and the Giving Block came back, a number of times, both to the board and in our conversations with you, as an option that looked ideal for UrbanEd Academy. And we were fortunate to get that activated this week. We're really, really, really excited again to learn and sit back. Yeah, we are officially wanting to put racial equity into some sort of connective opportunity with what looks to be like a wealth changing revolution for the world, for sure, but maybe Northern California.
Well, yeah, I mean, first off, I was, I was honored myself that you guys would come to me with this task and this ask to kind of help you guys get, immersed in this space of financial technology, of blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and decentralized finance. So, just having the opportunity to be associated with you guys and what you do really means a lot to me. But we had quite a bit of back and forth in terms of what was the best way to go with this. And we just really did come to the conclusion that the Giving Block was, really almost far and away the best platform for allowing cryptocurrency donations. They've had major partnerships with some of the largest nonprofits in the country and around the world, for that matter. And the good thing is, and this is your page on the Giving Block website, which I've also put down at the bottom here so people can find it directly. And it talks about your mission. It tells how people can donate the various cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, but some of the largest well-known cryptocurrencies out there, Ethereum. They have other crypto options like Aave, Anchor, Balancer, dozens of them. So, and they have your piece on winning the Jefferson Award there too. So there's a lot of really great information and a lot of really energy, once again, that the Giving Block is putting out. And this has been a pretty good year for crypto, DeFi as well. So, as we kind of get closer to the end of the year and you got a little bit of extra Bitcoin, you got a little bit of extra altcoins out there, and you want to send them to UrbanEd's way, this is a way to do it, and also get the tax deductibility credits or the charitable tax credits in doing so. I mean, hey, this is awesome because this isn't tax advice, but all those gains that you made in crypto this year, you can put them towards a good use and be a patron and a supporter of UrbanEd Academy and Man the Bay and all the great things that they're doing as they're expanding and just creating new possibilities for Black male teachers, Black male students, as well as Black girls. So upcoming, there is going to be a Saturday school where it's going to be Black boys and Black girls, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So, this is another great way for every young mind in our community to expand and to grow. And maybe we could talk about that and how we'll be working together a little bit in the future around this piece.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think there's two different realms of possibility. And, we're fortunate to have the time to be able to get our team, with you to muscle through this stuff on the planning side. But I think the Saturday school piece is just a natural one that, whether it's a lesson where we're able to work together to get a little tiny bit of donated crypto effectively for, call it 6th, 7th grade boys to be able to get a trading lesson going. Or if that, that donation sustains us across 2 or 3 different, lessons or Saturdays, there could be something like that. And we have the student facing stuff. But then we also have the teacher facing piece of it, which I think really carries a number of possibilities. From the perspective of a staff benefits agency, I guess, in some way, where we support the recruitment for sure, but the credentialing, the professional development, the coaching, and the housing, furnishing, all of that. What does it also look like for us to teach financial literacy at large? Being able to bring young men at ages 23 to 28 on average, bringing them online into a more fiscally responsible, start to their career. And so what kind of lessons can we derive from crypto, from DeFi, where we can have a little bit more of a modern spin to it, this maybe financial literacy track. But then also, to the degree that, we and Kamal, we haven't talked about this, too much. So I'd be interested to know people's thoughts on it. But to the degree that we know public systems are burdened and that they're not going to be able to give major salary bumps or revolutionary salaries to teachers at large. You can't do it for every single one. There's just too many. What does it look like for maybe folks that are doing really, really well in the crypto world and crypto investment world, even in the real, in the New York Stock Exchange? What does it look like for donations to go to teachers that would never otherwise have an opportunity to create an investment for themselves or manage an investment for themselves at the start of their career and get support and nurturing of that along the way? It's a little bit, maybe I think a little bit more involved on the stock side, but now that we have some of the opportunities we have now in crypto, and, the regulations maybe are coming later, does it look like we're able to share as well? And you are able to serve as a public servant in these classrooms, and we're able to create some sort of system where people doing really well can also come back you up with a little something to be able to secure your future. Maybe, I don't know. That's a crazy idea. The other thing we didn't talk about is, what does it look like for some of the offsetting of those taxes you talked about? Some of those offsetting to also be able to include tax burdens held by teachers. And so for folks that are doing really, really well in the crypto world and they need taxes to cut against, or they need debts to cut against, what does it look like to absorb a teacher's student debt or a teacher's income tax burden, even because you did so great in this crypto world? A platform like this gives us even the conversational pathway to each other.
Well, yeah, I have a couple of ideas about that, and maybe we should kind of talk a little bit offline on that. But I mean, that is a great idea, and to incentivize teachers, once again, to be able to focus solely on their career of teaching. You know, this is, I mean, there's a lot of conversations going on right now about taxing the rich. You know, at the end of the day, the rich have the resources to divert some of this, once again, to the people who need it the most. And obviously, or at least I would say, one factor of why there aren't enough black male teachers is that it just doesn't pay enough to sustain a family.
Right.
But we know the value of having a black male teacher in a classroom, once again, exceeds the value or the price and the cost it takes to actually get them in front of kids.
Right.
So I think it all story, you know, supporting, you know, this individual teacher fellow. I know you guys are already doing that already, but supporting them, like you said, in their future. So even though they're working today, they have a little bit of crypto in an account. So when that unlocks when they retire via something like a smart contract where, hey,
yeah,
you know, or you staying as a teacher for 10 years and then part of that Bitcoin or whatever unlocks, and then it's available to you after you've done this for 10 years, right? So there's a lot of things. There's some other ideas too. Maybe we could kick around, but you know, I don't want to throw those out and put you on the spot once again. You put me on the spot, but you know, I think that's all in good conversation, right? That's what makes these talks fun, I think, you know?
Oh yeah, man. We're just talking. We're just talking about it until, you know, there's some ink somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, when it's all said and done, I can't tell you once again how honored I am to have the ability to work with you guys and take the concepts that came from my book and really bring them to take them out of the pages, rip them out of the pages, and be able to talk to your teacher fellows as well as your Saturday school students. But something that I do think is also important is we're not just talking about crypto. We're not just talking about blockchain and decentralized finance. We're talking about the overall financial literacy where, you know, not just the fellows and the kids, they're learning about, you know, budgeting, saving, managing, you know, what debt is and how FICO scores work. So they're able to operate not just in, you know, this new decentralized financial system, but they're also able to navigate through the traditional legacy financial system and really be able to go in between both and have the best financial possibilities for their future.
Yep.
So, hey, Randy, I'm not sure what else there is to say, at least at this point, but if there's anything you'd like to close out and share with our audience, once again, I'd definitely like to give you that time to do so.
Well, thank you, Kamal. We appreciate, you know, I always appreciate the opportunity to get some airtime for the mission. Again, just want to encourage folks to check out UrbanEdAcademy.org. We have a gala coming up on October 14th, where we'll be starting out, you know, the virtual window for folks to get some updates from us on the organizational side. Our partnership with the Giving Block, we're kind of teasing out and previewing here, but that's going to be one update. We have a housing update to give, and we are gearing up again, like I said, to bring in earnest 20 to 25 fellows. Just to put that into perspective for San Francisco, in 2018-19, out of 4,000 or approximately 4,000 teachers, 65 were full-time teachers, 65 black men, full-time teachers out of that core. And so we were able to bring 20 in one wave. We would literally be accounting for 33% of the entire black male teaching core that the entire city and county of San Francisco has for its public schools. And so this is hard work for a reason, because these guys aren't there. But when we talk about doing it here in San Francisco, going the lengths we're going to, if it can be done here, we know, are confident it can be done anywhere. And so thanks for helping us dream, and look out for some good news from us pretty soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you, Randy, for taking time out of your day to talk to my audience about what you guys got going on at UrbanEd and Man the Bay. Can't say enough. Thanks again for allowing me to work with you guys, and so glad that my message aligns with your mission. And so like you said, there's good things coming, good things cooking, good things baking, and great things staking here at Black USA Crypto News. Enjoy your day, everybody, and stay safe.